So here we are with the continuation of the build of the warehouse. Now what we're doing here is building, there's like a little office that attaches to the front of the actual warehouse. So I might just be able to show you in this picture here. You can see that this is at a different angle and it is that little office just there. So this has taken me most of the day to do. I can't do much more because I'm waiting for some doors to come along. But I wanted to get, the roof has taken me most of the morning to work out. I have watched Michael's at Chandwell, the way that he puts roofs together. But at the end of the day, I've just gone for it. And kind of made it work, but I mean I cut the basic shape and then the first version, and I've had about 2 or 3 different versions of it, and we've got to about here. Got the chimney sort of semi in at the moment, just for a fit. I'm going to obviously clad that in the brick plasticard from Southeastern Fine Scale, and yeah, quite pleased with that. I've put some roof tiles on, and Chris and Stephen, I've actually taken the backing paper off this time and not just glued them on. So I actually think they actually sit better when you do that. But yeah, and I'm making up some ridge tiles. You can see them there. I've got to cut them down a little bit more yet. I really struggled to find any good ridge tiles, so I've decided to make mine out of card, painted them up in a similar grey colour, and I'm just sort of working them down so that they're sort of like an N-gauge size. At the moment I would say they're probably 00. But yeah, so that's where we are. Hopefully the next time you come back and see that, and the 2 sides of the little office and the window, it'll all be together. So I'll come back then. Right, okay, so moving on slightly. I've now built the roof for the office for the goods warehouse. I can't go any further because I'm waiting for I've got some doors turning up, but I've clad the chimney, as you can see, in the brick plasticard, and I've used the York model rail tiles for the roof, which will be tidied up when I put the ridge tiles on, which is something I'm working on at the moment. And hopefully when we see it again, it'll be covered up and it won't look quite so rough around the edges, but I was quite pleased with the way that they went on. A bit tricky around the chimney, but this side was pretty good, so quite happy with that, and that looks pretty realistic to the eye. Then the harsh realities of the camera, it doesn't look too bad either. Got the window aperture cut out. I'm probably going to use I've got some scale glaze from Scale Scenes. I'll probably use that for there, and we'll move on from there when I've sorted things out further for the roof, and obviously when the door arrives. Right, so you join me again. Supplies have arrived and we've got some ridge tiles for the roof, again from York model rail. They come in these strips here. Now the recommendation is, if I move that out of the way, it says use the edge of a metal ruler to bend the thin strips of paper over, creating the top of a curved ridge tile. Well, that might be quite easy in 00 gauge, but it's not in N. So what I've done is I've used a piece either side of the ridge. So that's what I've done. Although you use a bit more, it does look pretty good actually. Even in the harsh reality of close-up, it's not too bad at all, but to the eye it looks great. So I'm very happy with that, and I'll come back to you once I've finished doing it. Right, so ridge tiles are on. Pretty straightforward, a little bit fiddly here and there. and I may just have to put a little tad of glue along the edge of the top ridge, just to keep the little edges down. Although that 3M tape stickiness is very sticky and it is a bit of a pain getting stuck on your fingers, it does in general stay pretty well stuck, but that little bit over there has been a bit reticent, so just there. But I mean it might be all right actually. Again, in the harsh reality of close up in the camera, it's you know, it looks worse than it actually is. I mean, to the naked eye, I'm looking around the edge of the camera here and it looks fine. So maybe with a nice bit of weathering and so on, and once the chimney's all painted up and finished properly, then it all will be good. But I am quite pleased with that. N-gauge roof tiles. I've looked at the plastic ones, and I think Stephen at Exehaven Home got some Regitex ones, which are quite nice, but actually I think they're actually quite expensive. But then again, these aren't particularly cheap either. So you know, I think as a whole that's pretty not bad. There's a couple of little bits where I've come a little bit low, but I think in general that gives the roof a little bit of character. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that, and I think, like I say, from a distance it's pretty tidy. But yeah, going back to the plastic ones, I think they're a bit thick. Although there are some out there, I'm sure, that aren't too bad. But as time goes on, well, I'll be okay. I'll have a look. But yeah, we're going okay there. And I think just there you can see I've been working on something else, which is the sign for the depot. I'm not sure about this yet. I've made it up, and I just think it looks a little bit too like I printed it on the printer off the computer. I don't know, it's very difficult. I actually tried to make one of these ghost signs, and I'll bring that in now, and I'll put that on a piece of the brick paper. Don't worry about the tear at the top. That was me being a little bit overzealous actually. When I put it on there and the paper was wet, I actually rubbed a bit hard there, innit? That's the size of my thumb now, there, or my thumb. So yeah, so I'm not sure. The jury's out on that, but you know, I can re-look at that at some point, because actually in the picture, I don't know whether I can find that. Oh yeah, there it is. I'll bring that into shot now. In the picture, it's actually painted on, but I'm not quite sure how to achieve that effect. I was trying to do that with like the ghost sign, but I wanted to do it in like the Great Western colours really. But I think in the photo, it's hard to tell whether it is or not, obviously, because it's black and white. So that could have had a cream background and brown lettering, but I don't know. I might have to have a little fiddle around with that. I think for me, it just like the actual text looks a bit clean, and if I can, it looks a little bit better in the ghost sign, to be honest. So that might be something else to try out, but put it on that signboard there. But we'll see. So that's where I'm at the moment, and I'll come back to you with further progress as I do it. Right, okay, so before I get too far ahead of myself, these are all the front, rear and side panels. So I've just painted them, and basically what I've done is used the rail match light brick and the concrete woodland scenics colour. Now everything got a good coat of the brick colour, obviously, and what I've done then was watered down the concrete so that we'd get some sort of mortar and lighten it up a little bit more. I don't know whether you can see that. I'm not sure the camera can really pick it out. See if I can zoom in a bit. Not really, but it is there. You can just about see it. And then what I've done, just to give it a little bit of subtlety, is I've just gone and got my pound set of watercolour paints, and I've used the brown and just gone over it. So it's quite subtle. You can see some of the mortar. There's just a variance in the colour throughout the brickwork. This is still drying off a bit. So I'm quite happy with that actually. That's starting to look like the colour I really wanted. So, but what I will do once it's together is that I will get the weathering powders out on it as well. We'll have a little fiddle with that and see what we can do. But for now, during the construction phase, I think that's all we need to do. So I think I've done my bit for the evening. I'm going to let them dry off properly until tomorrow, and then we'll go a little bit further from there. Okay, so you join me now, and we're ready for gluing the two end pieces as such. We've cut out what I need to cut out for the girder on both parts of this, the cardboard former. So we've cut this out and we've cut this out here. That is ready to go in place, and in true Blue Peter fashion, I've got another one, or the first one, that's being done as we speak. So obviously this is cardboard side up. The girder's in and gluing, and that's kind of just about where we're at. Everything else is prepared and ready to go over here, the two side pieces. This first end piece that I've done, it's been glued, the cardboard and the plastic brick card, Southeastern fine cast brick card, easy for me to say, and that's ongoing. So I'll come back to you when that has all glued up. Right, Houston, we have a problem. I've done the first one, stuck the cardboard backing to the brick sheet, and I think because I use PVA, the card has bowed quite a lot. So I don't know whether you can see that. So what I'm going to do, I've cut out these wooden pieces of MDF, and I'm going to cut them to fit, and hopefully that's going to stiffen it all up, and we'll take that from there. I'll come back to you when I've done it. Right, so here we go. We're now doing the very slow and laborious task of putting the windows in. Actually, it's not that slow, but it is a bit laborious. This is the first section that I've started, and I think it's actually starting to bring the building to life. Actually, it looks really quite good. Even in the harsh light of the iPad camera, it doesn't look bad at all, and I'm quite pleased with that. A little bit of fettling going on behind the scenes, but you won't see that once I've done it. But yeah, so not too bad at all. And while I'm here, and I'll just show you quickly, I've kind of sorted out the warping bowing problem, and I have put those pieces of MDF, which I duly covered in PVA glue to stop their warping as well, but that has by and large stopped the warping. This piece is still a little bit, but I think with a little bit more pressing and so on, I don't know whether I can get that quite at the right angle for you to see, but it is much better than before, because that was really bending up. So yeah, might be some time before I get back to you, because the other task that I will have to do is put a window sill in each window. So that's going to either be cut out of a plastic card sheet or cardboard. So we'll see as I go along. But yeah, I'll come back to you later on. Right, so back again, we're moving on a stage now. So the two ends to the warehouse, all the windows are in basically. And what I'm doing now, and if you can see on the lower level of windows, I'm putting in windowsills. So if I just go in a little bit more there. There are the windowsills. Now what I've done is just basically cut out a 3mm strip of cardboard, and if I move you over slowly, and then I've just cut out sort of 2 pieces out of the corners so that it'll slot into the window to give it a little ledge and overhang at the end there, and then painted them up with some concrete paint, or concrete colour paint. The woodland scene, it's concrete paint anyway, and that's what I'm doing now. So that's where I'm at, that's how it looks. Quite pleased with the look of that, and once they're weathered up with some weathering powders and chalks and so on, I think this is going to look pretty good. So there we go. Right, so the windowsills are in on the 2 end pieces now. All the windows are in. Now what I'm concentrating on is the overarch, the window overarch, and then the brass etch tabs that I got, they come with overarches as well. Now that fits just beautifully, as it should, although obviously it's not painted yet. But when I look at the picture, and although this is a bit of a grainy picture, the overarches are the same colour as the windowsills. So that's the way we're going, and that's where I'll be heading with that at some point. I'm going to probably do the side windows next. I won't bore you with that, I'll just show you when I've finished with it. So that's that for now. Right, so to round this episode up, I've just received a couple of days ago the Sonic Models N-Class 56062T, BR line green, lake crest, and I decided to have it weathered, and I'm going to put it on the test track. I'm waiting to, well in fact I haven't ordered it yet. I'm going to order a Zimo chip for it, and hopefully that will be coming in the next week or two, and then we can run it on the main layout. But for the meantime, I'll show you the engine running round and stationary so you can see some of the detail. Right, so there we are on the test track, and I think you'll agree that's pretty finely detailed. If I can keep my hands still, I'm on my haunches here, for an N-gauge steam loco. I'm quite happy with the weathering too, to be honest. It's pretty tidy, and I'm quite pleased with that. I think, I can't remember what we paid for it now, it's less than £100, and I'd forgotten that I had it until a couple of days ago when I had an email to say, sorry about the bad camera work here, there we go, and we come back in, front view, and I'm sure hundreds of you have got these now, and what a nice loco they are. It's going to fit in on the layout very well, although I believe they worked mainly in South Wales, but I think we can stretch the point to a bit. So there we go, and I'll do a bit of filming now with it running. So it's really smooth running. I'm very impressed. This is basically straight out of the box. We're about 5 minutes in and running it round the track. It's quite good at slow speeds, and obviously this is without the DCC chip in it. It's just got the blanking chip in, running on a DC and DCC test track. So yeah, very pleased with this. Sorry, trying to keep up with it. And as you can hear, it is very quiet running. There's not a lot of noise with that. Some of the more observant of you may have noticed that it has got a buffer missing at the rear, or the buffer plate, I suppose you would call it, on the near side. I've been in touch with Revolution Trains and they've got back to me pretty quickly and said that there are more buffers on the way, so I apologised, which I thought was pretty good service. I mean, it was missing immediately. I didn't flick it on the carpet in the lounge when I opened it. Very carefully pulled it out, but to be honest, you can hardly notice. But yeah, there we go. So rather than make you any more dizzy, I'm going to get back to the testing, and I'll leave you all for 2 weeks. Speak to you soon.